presenting the Brick House Podcast. The Brick House. Here comes the boom.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Brick House Podcast. My name's Matthew Brick, and I'm super appreciative of you guys tuning in, listening, and watching. It's been a few weeks, and I just thank you guys for your patience, and I'm so excited. Today's episode is actually going to be pretty legit. I'm here with Ebenezer Griffin. How are you?
Good, man. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm super excited to, just talk about everything, talk about faith, talk about our lives, and our experiences that help to shape us. So
Yeah, I even just in our time that we've kind of gotten to know each other, but I think today's episode and you guys will be able to kind of sense it. But I don't know Ebenezer that well, but we just met through church and we just met through community, and I'm just really honestly it's just something that I see God already doing. He's allowing me to meet people and have conversation, and so I think that when I really mean it, guys, it's gonna be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think God orchestrated this. That's what I mean. So, maybe first off, I ask you, but tell us who you are. I know that's such a big thing,
yeah,
but maybe just a icebreaker kind of thing.
yeah.
Who are you? What do you love to do? Things like that. Whatever comes kind of to the top of your head, and then we'll start getting deeper.
It's crazy. I was doing a podcast. I'm from originally from Louisville, Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
But I was living in Bowling Green about 2 years ago, and I did a podcast, and the host, he asked me, he was like, "Who is Ebenezer Griffith?" And I gave an answer, but I really didn't know,
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's I can 100% say that in the past few years that has all changed. And I know who I am.
Mm.
So to start, my name is Ebenezer Griffith. I am 22 years old. I am from Louisville, Kentucky. I am a professional boxer. I play the piano, I play the guitar. I love chill weekends, not doing anything other than
Yeah.
a little workout.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I love watching football.
There you go. There you go. That's awesome. Yeah. Cause it's cool how you said and I don't know. I feel like if I was on the other end of this,
Yeah.
being faced with that question, who is Matthew Brick or something, but, I don't know. Sometimes maybe, or at least me, I think I'd overthink it.
Yeah.
But, and then also you kind of change over time.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, so let's kind of go into each of a little bit of what you kind of said. First off, the first thing I think you said was you were from Kentucky.
Yeah.
What was that like? What was being from Kentucky like? I've never been to Kentucky. What is if you think of Kentucky, yeah.
Yeah, what pops up in my head?
What pops up in your head?
First thing that pops in my head when I think of Kentucky, I think of family.
Mhm.
That's where all of my family's from. My parents still live there. A few of my siblings still
Mhm.
live there. Growing up in Kentucky was it was different, my childhood, than most people's childhoods.
Mhm.
My parents were very strict and very difficult to please.
Okay.
And growing up I kind of resented that. But as I've gotten older, I've grown to appreciate it more with how strict they were with us, and just not allowing us to fall into a lot of different pitfalls that are so easy to fall into.
Mhm.
My dad was a pastor, and he from a very young age he instilled in us no, Jesus is God, and he really taught us. He taught us from the Bible, showed us what the Bible said and how we should live our lives according to the Bible.
Mhm.
And I love Kentucky, man. It's beautiful. It's very green.
Yeah, green. Okay.
We're doing this podcast here in Colorado, and if you look outside, everything's all brown. Even
Yeah,
year
brown.
round,
Yeah.
everything's very, very brown. In Kentucky, everything is green. We have massive, tall trees, big oak trees. Very green grass, very full. Here it's very thin and wispy. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah.
It's kind of a thing. We have like a lot of lakes. I like to
Mhm.
fish, stuff like that. I'm from the South, so I grew up doing a lot of fishing, hanging out outside with my brothers. I have a lot of
Mhm.
brothers, so
How many brothers do you have?
so I have 6 brothers.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, I
My
come
mom
from
thinks
a
she.
massive family.
Yeah. My mom thinks she got a lot. Nope. No. Well, she just wanted a girl. That's why I think she. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Okay. Okay.
But she wouldn't trade it.
Yeah.
No, that's what she says.
Yeah. There's nothing like growing up with brothers, man. I feel like it's definitely a one of a kind experience.
Mm-hmm.
Especially like the way we grew up, and we grew up rough housing. Like my mom could not get us to like settle down. We
Yeah.
were always like playing some kind of sport.
Mhm.
Rough housing in the house, just like wrestling.
Mhm.
Coming in from outside like dirty, tracking dirt all in the house. I know that drove her insane. So
Probably. Yeah. That's awesome. Kentucky, okay. Now boxing. You said boxing second. Just like, and I feel like you said that. Well, before the episode, you said, and I'm just gonna say how you said it, but you were like,
Yeah.
it's so much of me, but it's also not as. It's also so much little of me, or like
Yeah.
so small of you. Maybe talk a little bit like you're a pro boxer. Like, you know,
Yeah.
that's no small feat. That's big. You've had to work like a lot to achieve that. What has that been like? How did it start? Like, what are your maybe hopes of boxing? Like, kind of like tie it all in. Like, like go
Yeah.
however you say whatever you want to say.
Absolutely. So I started boxing when I was 12, 13 years old.
Mm-hmm.
In Louisville, Kentucky, a gym called Louisville Legends. It's like a kind of like a staple in the community.
Mm-hmm.
I had 76 amateur fights. Fought in the Olympic trials. I was the number 1 ranked fighter in the country for a year. And now I'm a professional boxer. But I love it, man. It's nothing like there's nothing like the day in grind
Mm-hmm.
that boxing like demands. And like I can honestly say that like I fall in love with the process. Growing up, I've always been into like sports. Like all my brothers play football.
Mm-hmm.
Like growing up, we all play football, different things like that. Um, and playing like different sports, I never really liked the team aspect.
Yeah.
I always felt like I was like the hardest worker on any team that I've ever been a part of, whether that's like lacrosse, track, football. And for instance, my senior year of high school, we made it to the semifinals of state. This is like a glory days story.
Okay. Yeah.
Um,
Tell us.
But so we were like really good this year.
Mhm.
And I played defense, and we had like shut the other team out. They were the number 1 rushing team in the state.
Okay.
They had like a running back D1 commit. We had shut them out. Like there was 0 points scored the entire game. And we get to overtime and it's 0-0 still. And we end up going on to lose that game by like a last second touchdown in double overtime. And I remember just thinking like, man, if this was boxing, like this never would have happened, just because like I'm very much a control freak.
Yeah.
And me being a control freak, I feel that if everything's in my hands, I'll never let myself down,
Mm-hmm.
And like if you do let yourself down, there's no one you can point fingers to. You can't say, oh, like they did this, or oh, if the offense had done this, or oh, if like the quarterback hadn't let him score that touchdown. That's one thing I really love about boxing is that it's all on me, And then from like a selfish standpoint,
Yeah.
in football, there's 11 guys on your team,
Yeah.
like on the field at a time. And everyone in the crowd's like watching all these different guys like play their separate positions. In boxing, the experience is insane because everyone is watching every bit of you, And I don't know if it's from me having like so many siblings, but growing up, it was I had somewhat of like an identity crisis. Having like so many siblings, I never really had that thing that was mine,
Mm-hmm.
And when I started boxing at 12 years old, that's where I really felt at home. I felt seen. And coming up in through the ranks in boxing, like there's nothing like having like all of the eyes on you.
Yeah.
And like people could see like every bit of your body language and like your story, and just getting to paint the canvas and like show everyone who you are.
Yeah.
That's like my favorite part about it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And like, just like, I don't know. I think that's really cool. Like working for it. Yeah. I don't know exactly how to transition into this. But I mean, and I think we can spiral back to something else, but, I guess like faith. You had asked me, how do you integrate your faith into your sport? But I think this, like, I think it'd be a good time to kind of like, maybe like now come, or like trace some steps back and come back, but like, just
Yeah.
like faith,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
then like tie it into boxing and then everything else. I mean, because like, for people who are listening and watching, we met at church, but like, I don't actually remember how we met, but
I don't either.
yeah.
We've seen like each other
Yeah, I
in
think
passing like so many times.
Yeah.
And then I started working with like the youth group, and I think
Yeah.
that's where we really like connected.
But yeah.
But before that, it was more so just like I knew you were friends of friends and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
But like we've had a few conversations now just about faith a little bit, but like to me, I can like just kind of like just even like with the little that I know of you, and like you just like the Holy Spirit is over you. So
yeah, thank you.
yeah, I'd love to like just like for you to kind of just like share that.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess I'll go back to like the first time um, growing up,
Mm-hmm.
my dad pastor, obviously, so I'm a pastor's kid. Church was always it was always there. It was just something that like we did.
Mm-hmm.
If it was Sunday morning, we were going to church. If it was Wednesday evening, we were going to church. Um, like being at the church like all my life, like almost every single day, like whether it's like my dad's like studying in his office, and me and my brothers are there like playing around in the church,
Mm-hmm.
whether it was like doing some work at the church or something like that, like fixing a wall or something like that. So like growing up, it was always just like something that was a part of my life,
Yeah.
and my parents they're like super Christians. Like I don't know how they have like so much faith. Like
Yeah.
especially like my mom, her faith is like,
Yeah.
I don't know if I could ever like really, I don't know. I kind of think of it as like a video game, and like, like you have like 99 level power,
Okay.
like, I don't know if you play Madden at all, but,
Yeah.
in Madden, if you create a player, you can like have, okay, 99 speed, 99 strength.
Yeah.
For my mom, she has like 99 faith. Like her faith is like maxed out.
Maxed
And
out.
so, yeah.
That's
Um,
awesome.
And so growing up, it was very much like it was just something we did. And I never really developed like a
Mhm.
relationship with God for my own. Um when I turned 16, 17, I was working at a church camp, and that's where like I really um found Jesus for myself, and not just rely on this relationship that my parents had.
Yeah.
Um growing up, my parents always had like this super really good like relationship with God, and I never really had that for myself.
Mm-hmm.
I always believed that God was real, and that he and that everything in the Bible was true, but I never really had that personal relationship with him.
Yeah.
And when I turned 16 or 17, oh, it's been so long.
It's
Maybe,
all
maybe
good,
it's
it's all
maybe it's the CTE from all the punches.
Maybe.
But yeah, when I met Jesus for myself, it was an experience like none other. When you have that relationship with him, that you can pray and know that he hears you, and that it isn't just like a relationship that your parents have or
Mm.
someone else has, but that he is your very own savior, and not just someone else's. For me, that was like a very, very big turning point in my faith,
Yeah. Yeah, no, I could actually relate. Like, I mean, I'm not a pastor's kid, but my mom's faith, for my family at least, because my biological father passed when I was little, and then, like I have a stepdad now, and he's coming to faith. Or like I see him, he's in faith as much as he can. But it's always been my mom. Like obviously, I think her like looking now, like realizing what she was like when I was little. Like I definitely think she's gone through it.
Yeah.
She's definitely like, but I can relate as far as like my mom, she was like, if for a long time she was like the Christian, and then me like, yeah, I guess I knew the Bible stories. I like if someone were to ask me, "Oh, do you know David? Have you heard of David? Have you heard of Paul?" Like
Yeah.
things like that, but I relate, and I'm I'm gonna be 17 actually this week, but it's been a little over of like a year and a half since I actually gave my life to Christ, and like it was me because I obviously hear these things from my mom. I hear
Yeah.
things from kids as I start going to youth group, but I didn't actually have this like personal relationship with Christ, and like you
Yeah.
hear all this stuff, but then I was like, is it really for real? Like,
Yeah.
deep down, and then it was out of hope for me
Yeah.
personally, but I relate with that, and
That's
I
interesting. I sorry to cut you
no,
off.
keep going.
Um, I like how you said like is this for real? Like deep down, because
Hmm.
like growing up, I always believed in God, and like I always believed that Jesus was the Son of God, that He died for our sins. Um, but just when it became personal for me,
Hmm.
that was like the biggest turning point. I feel like for me, um, was when Jesus became my savior and not just like my parents' God.
Hmm.
That was like something that is honestly indescribable. When you think about just like growing up in church and constantly hearing all the stories and like all of these like great like demonstrations of faith and all of these great miracles
Hmm.
that God had done, and just knowing that like when you get saved that can all be possible for you too. I think
Yeah,
that's pretty crazy.
and it gives me a confidence for me at least, like me and my friend, we encountered like this guy in the mall, and yeah, it was my first time actually like having like a apologetic or like just even like kind of like an evangelist type encounter, like talking about Jesus out in public for like an hour, but I would do it differently now. But
Yeah.
cuz like I definitely think there's a way that we could have gone about better, more about like just understanding and like kind of being more of like going for the heart than rather just try to be right or whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, but like his basic premise was that you're only saved by your works.
Yeah.
But like something that's like this found confidence, and like obviously today's message was awesome. We go to Red Rocks, but just like well, I found confidence from that talk with that person in the mall was like my like there's nothing that I can do that can dictate my salvation, which is actually
Yeah.
kind of like for me gives me like a relief. Like, man, I'm not the one dictating that. It's
Yeah.
all by someone, and he's like a just God, and he has a
Yeah.
love for me. Like Romans 38 talks about how his love is like inseparable from us.
Yeah.
But then like where was I going with this? I don't know. Um but yeah, it gives me like this
Yeah.
confidence, and I don't know. It's definitely something that I can even see like last Monday cuz oh wait. Oh, now my thoughts came
No,
back
you're
to me.
fine, you're
But
fine.
yeah, just like with today's message, just like going through today's message was really relatable when it talked about just how like God calls us highly favored, but yet we are can still be going through like life's
Yeah.
challenges and struggles, but like yet God's always with us, and like how he chose us. You said you before the episode you kind of said it really good. What do you know what you said?
Yeah, so bro, I don't know if you remember Wednesday night.
Yeah, Wednesday night.
Yeah, so we had youth group Wednesday night, and Pastor Katie, she was talking about just having God number one in your life,
Mhm.
and being able to trust his plan. And for me, I'm a big control freak.
Yeah.
I like everything to be done my way,
Mhm.
because I have a very difficult time like trusting that other people will do it
Yeah.
to the quality that I want it to be done.
Yeah.
And this comes with like everything from like my training, like whenever I'm training with my coach, like, no, I want you to hold the pads like a certain kind of way.
Yeah.
Like, okay, no, that's too close to my face. I want it out here so I can get this kind of look. I'm
Mhm.
very like intentional with like how I want everything done.
Yeah.
And that crosses over to like every other part of my life. Like
Yeah.
if I'm in the kitchen cooking a meal, like I love to cook.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I'm in the kitchen cooking, and someone's like preparing a dish, I'm like,
Mhm.
no, I don't want it done that way. Like I want it done this way,
Yeah,
you know?
okay.
And I was like telling everyone in the youth group that like sometimes it's so difficult to trust God with like, even like those little like things that we might consider like insignificant,
Yeah.
But it's also like really difficult to trust God with like the thing that we hold like most dear to our hearts. And I think that like the biggest takeaway that I took away from Pastor Katie's message was that like God can be trusted with our traumas and our insecurities,
Mm-hmm.
and like everything that we hold like super, super close to our heart, like tight fist, white knuckle. Um, but not only can he be trusted, but like he wants to be trusted, you
Yeah.
know? Um, he wants to have our full like trust and our full faith in him that like, no, I do trust your will. And like that's so difficult, especially for me, because like I'm such a big control freak. And
Mm.
something I've been like relearning is that like, no, like yes, like I've always known that like God can be trusted with these things, but like he also wants to be trusted with them. He wants 100% of our faith, 100% of our commitment.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's very difficult to take the back seat and be like, okay, I'm gonna trust you. Let me close my eyes. So for
Yeah.
instance, if I'm driving on a road trip, right?
Yeah.
And me and you are driving together, bro, I'm gonna drive the whole way.
Yeah.
Like, I'm that kind of person. It's like
Yeah.
not even that like I don't trust other people's driving, but it's just that like if anything were to happen, I trust myself.
Your judgment.
Yeah, exactly. Like I couldn't have said it better. I trust my judgment in those like worst case scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me to like give up that control and that sort of like just that control, it's
Yeah.
it's really difficult. And so like something I've been relearning is that like if I'm going to give God like 100% of me, that means giving up control as well.
Yeah.
And like I can't control everything. I have to be able to trust him in the biggest areas of my life and the small areas.
Yeah. Two things that like come to my mind right when like when you're talking about that. So like for me, it's kind of like control, but I use another word for it. And it's like, well, something like, and Pastor Sean, one of the pastors or the head pastor at Red Rocks, but he said like the best way to be vulnerable is not 5 months ago, 5 years ago, but right now.
Yeah.
But something for me that I struggle with, and the word that I would use that's kind of to me, at least to me, kind of feels the same as control, but like power.
Yeah.
For me, it's like kind of like surrendering that power to Christ.
Yeah.
And like I feel like at least in my situation, like me, like something I find myself struggling with is like really believing in God's power and allowing like what God wants to do in my life like actually come to fruition. And then like just like letting God like, because like for me personally, I find that I have like a hardship with my brothers, and like in the moment I don't trust God.
Yeah.
And I kind of like use on my own power per se. Like I kind of will through it, and it's not great. Like I know that, but like for me, it feels like I have like the strength in that moment, because if I don't, then it feels like I'm weak.
Yeah.
And so like for me, I kind of feel like I can kind of relate, but for me, it's like me wanting to feel maybe in control, but like the strength, the power.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And then something that you said, like, if you can trust God in like the small things, you can you can trust God with the bigger things. And I think there's a parable. I think it's like called the 10 talents or something like that. Like three people were each given like a different amount of money, or maybe all the same amount of money. But then like the ones who did something with it and had prospered, God had given them more, because what you do and harbor and work with that God gives you and you steward it well, you can be given more. But something that I think, like you said, something at our hearts, like the tithing this past whole month. And I've had people come up to me and like,
Kingdom
oh,
builders.
what?
Go ahead.
Yeah, kingdom builders. Sorry, if you want to add in something, but no, my point here is, I just think that what you really said, like, especially with money or things like that, like starting off small. And that's something I've been doing. I've been starting now, because in my mind, it's like, if I don't start now, like if it's hard now, it will be that much harder later in life.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Did you have something to add on that, or?
Yeah. So you're like the parable about like the talents. That isn't only like applicable to money.
Mhm.
When I think of like talents, I think of things like um okay, God like blessed you and he created you with like an amazing singing voice.
Mhm.
And And so in the parable, he gives these people, he gives one talent, like one measure of talent.
Yeah.
He gives another 3 measures of talent. And then gives another 5 measures of talent. And he goes away and he's like, I'll be back. And so the first guy with the 1 talent, he goes out into the woods and he buries it. You know, he buries it like in the ground.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, if anything happens, like at least like I can always give this talent back to him, you know? And then the third guy, he goes out, the second guy, he goes out with his 3 talents and he puts them to work and God ends up blessing him and like giving him fruits to multiply. And his 3 talents turn into like 15. And the third guy with the 5 talents, he ends up going out and like he invests his talents really well and he uses them for like God's glory. And God ends up turning his 5 talents into like 1,000. And when he comes back, he asks the first guy like, "Hey, what did you do with my talents?" You know?
Yeah.
And the first guy tells him, he's like, "Oh, here you go." He digs it up, he brings it back to him, and he's like, he's like, "I gave you this to be like a good steward of, and like you've only returned to me what I gave you, you know?"
Yeah.
And then like the other 2 guys bring them back, and he's like, "You've been like really good servants to me, and like you've been good stewards of like what I've given you. So like I'm gonna make you like really prosperous." And I think that's applicable to not only just like money, but it's also applicable to things like if God gives you the ability to sing, you know, like a really good singing voice, like using that talent that he gave you for his glory, you know, whether that's like Red Rocks worship, or whether that's like leading a few of the worship songs or like being even like in the congregation and like letting other people around you hear you worship the King of Kings, you know? And then like with me, like God gave me the ability to like play piano. Like I love to play. Like I'll play for anybody. I could play the guitar, I'll play for anybody. Or like whether he gave you like athletic talents, you know, or whether he gave you like and even things that we think that we've earned. Like let's say you're a dermatologist and he gives you like the gift to like work on people's skin and things like that. You know, just like whatever we do, doing it all for the glory of God, you know, and like being good stewards of the talent and the abilities that he's given us.
Yeah, I like that. Well, because it talks about in like 2 Corinthians 12, and I know I've put this out on the podcast before, but yeah, there's spiritual giftings and yeah, it's awesome, and I think that is cool. You talked about music, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know, dude, that's awesome. Like, as a person who's never I've never played an instrument. I've always wanted to, but for me, it's just like, oh, I don't know if I could.
Yeah, my mom's like the most incredible like musician, world-class pianist. She taught me and like all my siblings. All of my sisters are like really, really good. Most of my brothers like stopped playing, but I like all through my life, I kept playing. So for my church, I would like I'll play the piano for my church. So I can, and then later in life, like I taught myself how to play guitar.
Yeah.
So that's like something I'm really passionate about, and it bleeds into like other areas of music. So my Spotify,
Oh, okay.
I have it like, dude, my Spotify is insane. I have every playlist you could think of, and they're all like different titles for like different moods. Like I'm very like musically inclined. So one of my playlists is called like Mud on My Boots. You know, that's like my country playlist. Like my worship music playlist, like it's called He's Worthy, you know?
He's worthy.
And then I also have like other playlists for like different moods. So like going for a walk in the park. That's literally the name of one of my playlists.
Yeah. No, it's
going for a walk in the park.
That's awesome.
And it's just like, you know, different moods and things like that. So yeah, I love music.
Did you get your Spotify Wrapped?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, do you have it, or like, do you have like what artist came up? Or?
Yeah. I don't remember the specific artist, but I know that it was a lot of country. Like my top songs, yeah. And I don't know if you know SZA.
I do.
Okay, yeah. She's like, I love her voice, bro. It's like, it literally sounds like angelic. She is one of the best voices like I've ever heard.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so that was like top my Spotify Wrapped.
All right. Yeah, mine was like basically all worship. It's Zach Williams, Red Rocks worship, Evolution worship, Forrest Frank.
Okay, Forrest Frank.
Oh, I love Forrest Frank. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's coming to Colorado.
Kenny put me on to him. Yeah.
He's coming to Colorado in 5 months.
Yeah. Favorite Red Rocks worship song?
Um, I mean, this, I guess, Sound Mind, but that's like Corey Miller, but that is Red Rocks.
Yeah.
And The Good Plans.
Good Plans, bro. Good Plans is my favorite
Yeah.
Red Rocks worship song.
I really like their new ones, but they ain't released them yet. Like the one they played
know.
today, that, and then there's
Yeah.
like Holy Spirit, All I Want and All I Need.
Yeah.
Well, I don't, that one too. Those two songs, those are maybe becoming my favorite.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
if they would actually release it, then
Yeah.
that might, like,
we could play them.
then we can start playing it, put it
Do
in
you
the
know when
car.
the release date is, or did it have one yet?
I was told March,
Okay.
but maybe I'm not
Oh,
allowed.
wow. That's a wow.
Yeah,
Oh wow.
but maybe,
Yeah.
maybe not.
Well, if you come to a Red Rocks sermon, a Red Rocks service, they're playing all the unreleased stuff too. So
Yeah, they but like because I don't listen to radio, I don't. But
Yeah.
like I wasn't for whatever reason, I was on the way to a wrestling duel, and they had the like K-Love station on,
Yeah.
and they're playing Red Rocks Worship now on K-Love, so
Yeah.
you can find Red
That's
Rocks
fire.
Worship. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, I've been told, and I've even people who don't go to Red Rocks, I've been told like, oh, they're the one that has the really good music.
Yeah.
Like when I've shared, oh, I go Red Rocks.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, they have a lot of good music, and
One thing I love, and if we can get back on
Yeah.
topic, it's the Red Rocks merch, bro.
Yeah.
Whoever the designers are, with the Red Rocks merch team,
Mhm.
yeah, dude, they got some really good stuff.
They just got to put a little more orange in it. I personally, that's something I'm actually
Yeah.
like put a little orange in there
We're
for
gonna
me.
do a collab, Workhouse Podcast, Red Rocks worship.
I've had
Yeah.
Jordan on. Everyone says I should get Sean Johnson. Maybe someday. I'm too scared.
Yeah.
I'm
Hey.
scared.
Ask him, bro. I'm sure he would come on for sure.
Yeah, once we get a high deal. No, I don't know. But yeah.
Got to do like a 1 year finale, or like a 2 year finale.
Yeah, because we've gone 1 year now, so 2 years, maybe soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Like do like a 2 year anniversary and have Pastor Sean on.
Pastor Sean, maybe,
Yeah, that'd
just
be
maybe.
fine.
His son goes to Valor. But
Okay, yeah.
I don't want to like go through that.
Yeah.
If I do it, I want it like, hey, my name's Matthew Brick.
Mhm.
Let
Let me ask you a question.
Oh yes, ask me
So-
questions.
You're a triplet, right?
Yeah.
Growing up, did you ever have like that kind of identity crisis?
Oh yeah.
Or like trying to distinguish yourself from your brothers?
Yeah, and
Yes.
that's a good question.
For me, growing up, it was always like, oh, there's one of the Griffith boys,
Exactly.
Like,
Okay.
there's like they kind of group you all together.
Yeah.
Was there ever like a
Oh,
kind
for
of like
sure.
a struggle of gaining your independability?
Yeah, I would say that.
independence.
And I mean, there weren't 6 of us, but there were 3. But the title that, and I love the title. Like it's not a bad thing, but it did become to a point where it was my only thing. You're a triplet.
Yeah.
Like here's the triplets.
Yeah.
And literally it actually did become like a thing where like there was a few years of like middle school where like if they called one of my brothers to the office, all of us came to the office. Like the Brick.
No.
Yeah, no, so they
No,
totally
Oh my goodness.
do
Yeah.
you feel that? Or
Yeah, I get that for sure. I remember one instance, it's like there's the 3 youngest siblings. I'm second to youngest.
Yeah.
We're all 3 boys, and so like growing up, they referred to all of us as the 3 little boys,
Yeah.
And so it was definitely like
Mhm.
a struggle, like gaining independence and like letting people know, like, hey, I'm me. I'm not a 3 little boy,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then as far as friends goes, like that's definitely something like obviously I would say that like a lot of my identity, and it wasn't actually until high school because now I'm in a separate school. It's me and then my 2 brothers are over at a different school. And I can just like even talk on like how much that was for me.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, like I have now my identity is like for the longest time I did my identity was I'm Jackson and William Brick's brother,
Yeah.
and like I'm the middle. So I was in the middle. So
Oh, you're a middle child too?
Yeah,
I'm a
so-
middle child.
so
yeah.
I just like
Yeah.
I just felt it contained trapped in that, and not that like I love that. Like I love nothing more to being a Brick, and I love it. But now, yeah, no, like now I'm Matthew Brick, and people know me for who that is, and But
Yeah.
yeah, it was kind of rough, and like especially going in high school, it was like the first time in my life, like that first year, I'm not gonna lie, like I'm glad that I'm not a freshman anymore. Like freshman year is already hard enough, but uh that was a time, like the first time I think in my life that I was ever like actually out in the world as much as I was, like, as much as a freshman high schooler is, but like um just like me trying out things, making, like, it was the first time I think in my life me actually making my own first friend,
Yeah.
not someone that my brother, yeah. So
That you were all friends with. Yeah.
yeah, all
I get
friends
that
with.
for
So,
sure.
but yeah, to answer that question, but I can tell you like my identity. I also think it's been very like orchestrated by God. I feel
Yeah.
like God, like just even the past 2 years, like I've seen how like God has put people in my life, placed people in my life to do things. And even this, like I think my podcast is just like another example of just like God's faithfulness and
Yeah.
goodness. And he did not need to do it, but like
Yeah.
that verse, like he chose me and he's having me do this long before I ever thought of it.
Yeah.
But
That's
yeah.
like a good example of like using his talents, and being a good steward of the talents that he's giving you. I
Mhm.
feel as though.
Yeah. No, I really do enjoy this stuff because it's not so much the podcast for me, it's like the talking for
Yeah.
people.
It's like we're
Like,
just having a conversation.
yeah, and then just recording
Yeah.
it. But because I don't know, like for me, that's how I process things, like talk through talk. And I
Yeah.
think honestly, talking a lot of times like that creates community, and then it creates it actually like opens up barriers, and like it frees you more.
Yeah.
Like, and like it's hard though, like at least with me, I'm not very communicative with my family though. But like my hope is that like if they hear me maybe through my podcast too, like definitely that's an area right now in my life where it's like I could definitely probably be more open.
Yeah.
But
Let me ask you this.
yeah,
It's like sort of changing gears. What would be your 1 year plan? And then give me a 5 year plan.
1 year plan of like what I want to do.
Mm-hmm. Just like 1 year direction
Yeah,
for your life, and then
my life.
where you
5
see
years.
yourself in 5 years.
Awesome. Let's go. Let's go. I get finally someone's asking me questions. All right.
Yeah.
1 year plan. I mean,
We need to title this Ebenezer Griffith interviews Matthew Brick.
You want
Something
to?
like that. No, I'm sorry.
this section. All right. But yeah, 1 year. I mean, so a year from now, I will be out of high school. No, I will still be. I'll be a senior
You're a
in high.
junior right now.
Yeah, I'm a junior. So but a year from now, I'll be almost 18.
Yeah.
I'll be still going through school, but as of right now, I do not want to go to college.
Okay.
I don't know if it's ministry. I don't know if it's that, but I definitely want to do something that God has called me to, of some sort. I just want to help people.
Yeah,
I really
absolutely.
do. And so as far as like that, I just want to see, for me, what I feel like God's placed on my heart is I can't go not do something that isn't for God. Like I want to go do something. And like, I personally think the most fun events or most fun things I've done has always been these past 2 years, just faith centered.
Yeah.
And so if it's like interning at Red Rocks or just, I don't know, just I want to live more of like God's adventure for me. And then 5
Absolutely.
years, my hope is that whatever that plan or thing adventure that God has for me, that I can actually start reaching people.
Yeah.
I really do want to. I just like something that for me is like, and I just said it, but like for my life, as long as like I'm here on this planet, I just want to go out and do something that's uncommon.
Yeah.
And go and do something that I'm not even expecting.
Yeah.
I just want.
Absolutely.
So
I love that. Wow. Do something that I'm not even expecting. I feel like that's,
yeah,
that's so powerful because I feel like if you ask any great in any industry, they'll always tell you like I had these like really lofty goals. But then like it became something entirely different, and like something that I wasn't even expecting, something that I couldn't have dreamed up, And I think that's really awesome.
and that's how I hear other people talk. I mean, I'm definitely, if I were to be realistic, I probably am definitely a dreamer, or like I'm definitely have always like I grew up watching like anime, and I
Bro,
think
me
you
too.
know
Wait,
that
wait.
you
Favorite
talked
anime.
about that
Favorite anime.
Dragon Ball.
Ooh, okay.
Or-
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. We gotta rerun that. Give me a top.
Oh, 5?
Oh wait, are you a big anime watcher?
I used to be, not as much right now because personally, I stopped watching with Jujutsu Kaisen, like, because some of the stuff I personally it's fire. I absolutely love it. But as far as me, like, how do I put it? For anime, I put a stop on anime for right now because for me it became more of like an escape and a way for
I
me
get that.
to kind of like, and not that like fantasizing is wrong, but I definitely found myself more just like I was just caught up into it, and that's all I wanted to watch and do, and then it just like instead of actually experiencing life, because what I love about anime personally is just the storytelling and
Yeah.
but it was always like this idea of like just going out and like chasing your dreams or
Yeah.
so. But top anime is probably
Top 3.
top 3. Dragon Ball, One
You
Piece.
can't name Dragon Ball. That's like a
Oh.
given. I feel like Dragon Ball is the anime that made every kid fall in love. You know, so like
Okay.
you can't say Dragon Ball.
One Piece,
Okay.
Naruto,
Ooh.
and I really like Attack on Titan. I really do. I mean,
Okay.
I haven't ventured out other
Yeah.
than the really big animes
Okay.
or Vinland Saga. I really like Vinland Saga.
Yeah.
Um,
Those would definitely be in my top 3, but since you already named them, I can't name them. I'm gonna go Fairy Tale.
I only watched a few seasons of that. I don't.
Phenomenal, bro. Fairy Tale, Akamega Kill,
All right.
and Toriko.
I don't know the last two. I mean, yeah, but I honestly, for me, what really all started with, I actually had to, when I was thinking, it was I know this isn't an anime, but
Yeah.
Avatar,
Okay.
The Last Airbender.
Yeah, yeah.
For me,
I consider that more of a cartoon.
it's still a cartoon, but like it
But
has the same,
Yeah, it
like it has
does,
the same like a kind of like story, kind of like
yeah.
like a story build, if you get
Yeah.
what I mean. Like it's still like the heroes.
Yeah,
For
absolutely.
some of it's not all, but
You just follow your protagonists as they go through like their different obstacles.
the hero's journey or
Yeah,
whatever.
for sure.
Like
Yeah. Subbed or dubbed?
Subbed.
Subbed? Yes.
Unless it's Dragon
absolutely.
Ball. Dragon Ball has good dubbed voices.
Dragon Ball, okay, we can do dubbed on Dragon Ball, but subbed all the way. Subbed all the way.
Oh yeah.
Specifically when watching like One Piece.
Yeah,
I know we've gone on like a tangent with this, but
it's weird.
but like One Piece, if you've ever heard Sanji's voice in the dubbed, oh my goodness, I don't like it. Like, so I have to watch One Piece on subbed.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, most people don't know this, or like I've told people I've watched anime, but this is the first time actually in a while that I've said it.
Yeah.
It feels good. But you know, there's a fear. It's fear because you know, like the weaves.
Yeah, yeah.
I used to have a big like Funko Pop Dragon Ball anime collection.
Yeah.
I probably had like 50 stuff, like 50 things at least. And I know that might not be as much as, but it was for me as like a kid, that was awesome.
Yeah.
I still have some of the stuff, but not in my room and set up.
Absolutely.
But yeah. And that, I mean, yeah, I would definitely say I've always been that kid who just like wants to go out and live like that dream. And
Yeah.
like, I definitely think something that I've realized is like being content in the moment.
Yeah.
And like that's something that like I feel like God has placed on my heart. Like I like in my mind, it's like God saying to me, I have some really big plans for you, Matthew.
Yeah.
But in this moment, you need to be patient and just be where you are, because right now I have you where you are for a reason.
Yeah.
And so like, I'm definitely trying not to rush the process. But why I even bring that out was just because we were talking about it. But,
Yeah, absolutely. I think contentment is like something that like that's like really big for me. They always say like if you're not content right now, you never be content even when you get where you want to be, you know?
Mhm.
And that's like in all things, whether it's like your finances, whether it's like your job, whether it's like your relationships, you know?
Mhm.
If you're not content with what God's doing for you right now, you know, I don't think you'll ever be content. And I think it's like even like outside of faith, just like embracing the journey, you know?
Yeah.
And embracing like the things that you can control, and like doing your best to, you know, put your best foot forward and like make sure you're not making steps in the wrong direction. But when it comes to things you can't control, you can pray about them. But other than that, like sort of just like leave it in God's hands, I think that's like something that's like been really big for me. It's like
Yeah.
not obsessing over the things that I can't control. Because like for me, when it comes to boxing, I have like these like really lofty goals, and I'm always like telling myself like, if not now, then like when, like okay, like am I doing enough? And like I train like a lot, and I still find myself like always asking myself like, bro, like am I doing enough?
Mm-hmm.
And like I think like over the past few months, I would say like past 6 or 7 months, like I've stopped like beating myself up and be like, okay, am I doing enough to be like to be where I want to be,
Mm-hmm.
And I've sort of like embraced the journey and be like, okay, I can't control this, I can't control that, but what I can control is one, how much work I put in, how much I pray, how much I make sure that my spiritual life is in balance, because I think that like having your spiritual life in balance and like having a good, healthy relationship with God is something that changes the rest of your life, Um, a lot of people want to have like fit bodies, and like want to be in shape and want to be healthy. And like that's amazing, like I think those are like all things that you should want to be. You should want to be healthy and like
Yeah.
be a good steward of the body that like God gave you. But like outside of the physical, like making sure that you have a good spiritual relationship and like making sure that when you have a good like that your mental health is good, I think that's big, but like everyone always talks about having good physical health and having good mental health, but no one ever talks about having good spiritual health, And I think that like having good spiritual health and having a good relationship with God is something that allows you to like to change the other two,
Yeah.
because like you can't have good mental health if your spiritual life is in disarray.
Yeah.
If you're really struggling in all the spiritual aspects of your life, you'll never be sane. Um, and in the same way, like it's really difficult to be physically stable if you aren't mentally stable, and it's really difficult to be mentally stable if you aren't spiritually stable.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how to explain it, and like I think it's like someone showed me like an analogy, but like if you've ever had like the cone cups
Yeah.
and like I don't know, I'm probably not gonna get the analogy right, but like um I don't know, it's just like God, you can't like, well no, yeah, if you put a cone cup over another cone cup and you try to like um pour the water into the cup, it's not going to get into the second cup until you like, I guess God's cup is like overflowing the first cup
Hmm.
that allows the water to drain into the second cup
Oh, I see what you're saying. They're
underflow.
both like flipped, like to where the top sides are.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
And it just, yeah, I can think of it kind of like how you're saying, like your spiritual life will literally seep into everything
Mhm.
else.
Mhm.
Or like
Yeah,
that's kind of why I got out of it. But and it's
absolutely.
also relatable because I read Sean Johnson's Attacking Anxiety book, and it's like
I haven't read it yet. I need to.
it's good.
Yeah.
It really is.
Is it on Amazon?
It's on Amazon.
Okay.
I could give it to you if you want to. Like actually, you could read my
Actually, I can
Yeah.
borrow it for like a week.
take it. Yeah, as long as you want. I have
Okay,
it.
perfect.
So, but like, um, I don't know. It is relatable, and like that's just something that I don't know why. I didn't grow up with a lot of stuff, but like actually the past few years, I found myself really worrying, and it's something that I kind of do on the day to day. It's just more about like stuff in the future, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I find myself worrying about stuff in the future, and I worry about like, um, just like I have fear and frustration, and I think it ties into just like me not feeling always worthy, but something that someone's like challenged me even today. I don't know why, but he calls it like the or worthy board, and something I think I'm gonna start up with, just like certain scriptures that like literally say what God calls you, but
Yeah.
because like I think we
Yeah.
can know the answer, but like walking into the fruition of like that answer, because like I think we can say like anyone who's been to church long enough probably has heard those answers like what does God call you, or you're perfectly wonderfully made, you're made in God's image. Like you can hear that stuff all you want, but do you actually believe it?
Yeah.
Going kind of back to that the
Yeah.
very beginning.
I think that I don't want to like let me see, I want to phrase this. I
Yeah.
think that that's a big part of like trusting God though, and having faith. Um And like another thing, you don't have to have like perfect faith in order for God to do something, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I want to say it was Peter. I hate that I don't remember this, but he's like, Lord, I believe. Like he was praying that God would do something. He's like, Lord, I believe, but got helped by unbelief, you know? And that's and I think that like, at least for me in the past, like I've really thought that like, okay, um, if I'm asking God to do something for me, you know, which
Mm-hmm.
like I do way too much. But
All right.
if I'm asking God to do something for me, um, I don't have to have perfect faith, you know. I don't have it can't be where like, oh, there's like a little bit of doubt in my mind that he won't do it, you know? That's okay to have like that little bit of doubt in your mind. Um, and like the way that Peter was saying, he was like, Lord, I believe that you're gonna do this, you know, like I have the faith that you're gonna do this for me. Um, but like God help the little part of me that doesn't believe, you know? And like I think that's so incredible how like he was so vulnerable, you know,
Yeah.
even like great men of faith that you know that we look up to. It's really cool to like see the struggles that they were facing too, you know, and like okay, they're these great men of faith that we look up to, but even their faith wasn't perfect, you know. And like they had those like moments of doubting,
Yeah.
like moments of wavering.
I don't know. I've gone back to this verse a lot. I don't know. It's somewhere in Hebrews. I think it's, well, I could look if I wanted to, but it talks about how it says, like, Jesus allowed himself to be tempted so that he could understand what it meant to be tempted. And I think it's just also kind of like, you can read it a few ways, but it basically means that, like, he allowed himself to, like, go through, like,
Yeah.
we hear this all the time, but like Jesus was fully human, but like he allowed himself to be tempted so that one, he can understand like
Yeah.
what we're going through, and so that he can actually like be relatable. And I think that's like why it's so like, well, yeah, because he knows exactly what we've thought and felt, and but it's and like I don't know where I'm going with this, but I
Yeah,
think that's a cool
yeah, yeah.
thought to think
Yeah,
of.
he was fully God and fully man at the same time. It was crazy. Today's message, Pastor Sean was talking about how the different emotions that Mary was feeling when the angel Gabriel told her that she was going to be the mother of Christ, you know?
Yeah.
Um, and just like seeing all those like very human emotions, you know? Like she's
Yeah.
like feeling bewildered, like she's feeling not ready, she's like very fearful. Um, it's crazy to think that like, you know, like Jesus experienced all of those emotions too, you know? And like for me, like, you know, like I also like feel a lot of those like same emotions, you know, whether it's like in my spiritual life or whether it's like, you know, in my career, like with boxing. Sometimes you don't feel like worthy
No.
of like, you know, everything that's happening for you. And then other times you're like, you know, you get anxiety before a fight and stuff like
Mhm.
that. And just like knowing that God felt all those same emotions is honestly
Yeah.
pretty crazy. And I think like something that really helps with those things that I need to do more of is fasting.
Fasting.
Yes, bro, it works. So I fasted like a few times in my life.
Yeah. I've
Like
never really
for
fasted.
like 3 days, like no food, just water. Like no like juice, no
You
protein.
think I should do that though at my age though, you think?
Few days. You
Few
don't have to do
days.
it for like as long as Jesus did it. But
Yeah,
bro,
40 days.
Jesus did it for 40 days. And like there's people that like I don't know if you know the rapper Kevin Gates. He's
Probably not.
big on like fasting.
Yeah.
And he's fasted for like 20 days before. And just like drink water. But like your body can go weeks without food, you know, as long as you have water and like you're not already like physically ill, you know. I don't know about like for teenagers, but I know for like full adults,
Yeah.
if you want to fast for like 20 days, like it's very possible. I wouldn't do that long. I'm not gonna do that long. I can't do that long. But and just like when you think about like Jesus going to the desert for 40 days, you know, like
Mm.
I'm a boxer, like we go into camp for 8 weeks, you know, and like we have a training camp where like we're preparing and we're studying our opponent and we're putting a game plan into place. Like, okay, I'm going to do this when he does this. I'm going to do this, so I'm prepared, you know. Before he went full time into the ministry,
Yeah.
Jesus was in the desert, and like you know, I just want to know like what he was thinking, you know, because like it's Jesus we're talking
Yeah.
about. Like, was he having like like a bunch of like doubts and like, you know, like he was fully human. So like I'm sure like, you know, everything wasn't like peachy, you know?
Yeah.
And like he was in there for 40 days and I don't know. I want to do like a 2 week fast once in my life. I want to do a 2 week fast
All
once in my
right.
life. Like no food, just water.
All right.
And I'll let you know how it goes when I do it.
It's definitely something that I'll think about because, yeah.
We gotta do it together.
Sure.
Like a 3 day fast.
All right.
I feel like okay, if we do it, we gotta build our way up, you know?
Yeah, sure.
Like let's go like we'll do a 1 day fast where we don't eat anything until the next morning, you know?
Deal. Let's do it sometime. Let's do it.
And then
Let's
like
do
we
it.
just drink water. And then like 2 weeks later we do a 3 day fast. So we don't eat anything. Bro, that's insane.
My parents did that.
Like-
I can't imagine.
Don't eat anything for 3 days and just like really spend that time in prayer, you know?
All right.
And like think about the mental clarity you'll get, you know?
Probably.
Because like people don't know this, but food is a drug, you know?
Yeah.
So the FDA, Food and Drug Administration, a drug is like anything that changes your body, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so like bro, the foods that we eat
Yeah.
literally like change our
DNA, right?
Yeah,
Or some
yeah.
of it came.
Like, chemical imbalances in our brain,
It's
and like
crazy.
it literally changes the way you think subtly. But like, let's say you eat like a bunch of fast food, you'll
McDonald's.
literally like think differently than you will if you eat, say, like a purely vegetarian diet, you know. And like I don't know, I just feel like the mental clarity would be
Yeah, that'd be
insane. Like
crazy.
even just like a 3 day fast, you know, like just water.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I don't know. And
interesting.
we'll definitely talk about that. You know, I've been wanting to say this for a while, and I think this is just like a time that I can say it.
Yeah.
But my wrestling coach said it, and I think it's just so applicable with like kind of everything that you said. And I've been thinking about it a lot. But he constantly says live in a perspective of abundance than of lack. Like kind of like take everything that comes your way as like, oh, like this is abundance, this is good,
Yeah.
even when it's not. Like
Yeah.
think, and then when something does come your way, that's not great, but you're already living in that abundance
Yeah.
posture. It's like, and this is something that I'm not getting right for sure. I'm saying this because I don't even do it, but it's like everything that God is giving is like this abundance rather than living out of lack of like, well, why don't I have that? Or why am I not feeling this? Why am I?
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's just like something that I think maybe fasting or like some of these things that like can get us like closer to God per se.
Yeah.
Or like God's already here. He's already close to us. I just mean like there's definitely I think things that can take the veil off our faces, I think, a little bit more.
Just help you see a little more clearly. Like give you a new perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's definitely something that he just said and I wanted to say on the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So Matthew, you are 16 years old.
Yeah.
Would you say you have like a old soul, or what? Or would you say
Do you get that feeling from me?
Yeah.
You're not the first person to say that.
You know what's crazy is like growing up, I was very like a rambunctious child. You know, like those kids that won't sit still
Yeah.
and they're always doing something. You're like
Or tapping their knee.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, bro, I used to do that, like that knee bounce. Yeah. I don't know if it's just like boxing that's like made me take like life very slowly, but like I don't know, I kind of get that like that feeling from you, you know. Like if
thank
I'm
you.
in the mall, like
All right.
if I'm in the mall walking with like for instance, I was in the Lone Tree Mall like last week, and I'm walking with one of my friends, and she's like, you walk so slow. I'm like, you would not have said this a few years ago, you know, but like also just like, I don't know if it's just like, you know, the person I've become, but like, I feel like in general, just like I move very slowly, you know. It could just be a byproduct of my profession, you know, me being a boxer, like always being in chaos, and then when I'm not in the ring, just feeling more calm, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of get that. I kind of get that vibe from you, though. It's kind of
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
People voice and like I kind of tie this into this, but everyone says people always are asking me, "Are you all right?" or like this or that, depending on how I look. Because people say that I'm very like expressive with how I feel. Like I guess it comes right off all my face.
Yeah.
Which I'm fine with. But yeah, no, I just value like some of the things like I just want to experience things, and if that's like old soul
Yeah.
or like and like there's definitely a longing for more purpose. There's
Yeah, for
definitely
sure.
and if that I don't know, but and then I do like some older classic like older music.
Okay. Like who?
Um,
Like who?
well, like I love like Bill Withers. I
Okay.
love the Temptations. I love yeah Stevie Wonder, and then I love classic rock, like
Yeah.
just 70s, 80s.
Okay.
I
Okay.
love
Now you're
and
talking.
yeah, and then I like Sam Cooke, like even just some of those
Sam Cooke's
yeah,
fire.
or like and I just say some of these artists, but like that doesn't make you old soul, but I just like I love
Yeah.
some of the older music. Because, like, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't grow up on rap. I didn't grow up on
Yeah.
Justin Bieber, Taylor Swift, or
Yeah, I didn't go on Justin
I
Bieber,
don't know
Taylor
any of these
Swift.
people. I mean, I know SZA, but like, I don't listen to her. But I've never really gotten a chance to hear her voice. But
Yeah, no, she has an incredible voice. I wish I could sing like her.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
but I don't doubt that you probably have a good voice.
Sometimes.
Sometimes,
Yeah, sometimes. Not since I got to Colorado.
yeah, the altitude or something.
No,
the,
it's the dry air.
the dryer.
Bro, like all
Probably.
year long, my voice feels like so scratchy and like
Deeper.
deeper and dry. And like I went back home to Kentucky for Thanksgiving and
Oh yeah.
it was crazy because just like it's wintertime and like it felt completely differently. Just like the air on your skin because like it's very humid in
Yeah.
Kentucky. And here it's like so dry. Like I have to put lotion on like all year round, otherwise I'm gonna be walking around, looking like the Michelin man,
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know. I feel like the air here has done something different to my voice. But I like to sing. You
Yeah.
catch me in the shower, bro? All right, dude. I have a speaker, right?
Yeah.
And I'm always playing music. Like no matter what I'm doing, I could be cooking, I'm playing music. I can be like sitting on the couch watching
Yeah.
film. I'm playing music in the background. I'm in the shower, I'm playing music, and I'm singing, So might have to put a microphone, catch a concert.
Do you ever think you'd cook or like for me like not like I'm not trying to say cook for me, but like
Yeah, hey,
you
we
know,
can do
like,
something, yeah.
if you ever want to chef
Have
it
everybody
up,
over to the crib? That
you
sounds
know,
fire,
chef
bro.
it up. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just I love food.
Yeah.
And
You know what I was thinking? And I want your insight on this.
Yeah.
So for anyone that doesn't know, at Red Rocks Church, we have we have what we call small groups, which is like exactly what it sounds like. It's a small group of people come together every week, and you just kind of like get a little bit of insight into each other's lives, just on like a more personal basis. It's a way to like have friends who are also believers and can help to like guide you, and give you advice and direction, in your life. But I was thinking about starting a small group this coming year, bro.
yeah.
And I feel like that could be cool. Me, like
yeah,
I just cook for everyone,
Oh yeah, that would be
and
awesome.
like we share a meal, we watch some football, and like
Yeah, let me know. Let me know.
like every week, I'll be down to do that. Just like
All right. Yeah, actually, I'll be down.
cook a little meal for everyone, we watch some football, talk about faith, and
I mean,
just
I'm not a big
check in on
football
each
guy,
other.
but everything else.
All right,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah.
we can talk about basketball. Oh, dude, I'm gonna be so hurt when LeBron retires, bro.
Oh, I don't even know anything about basketball either.
Okay, you know LeBron James?
Well, I know LeBron.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Well, he's in year 20 right now, 21. And like he's getting close to retirement, and like my entire life, LeBron James has been in the league, right? Watched him. He's been like a role model for me.
Yeah.
Because he's like, a lot of athletes, you'll hear like things about them like in their personal life, But for me, like LeBron has been like an amazing dad, like both of his kids will like
Yeah.
talk about how great of a father he is. And his wife like talks about how his wife Savannah James, she'll talk about like how great of a husband he is, and just like
That's good.
like I love there's like certain athletes that I look up to.
Yeah.
And with LeBron getting ready to like retire here in like a year or two, like bro, I'm gonna be hurt.
Yeah.
I might have to throw something on the grill. I might have to throw something on the grill, take a week off work.
If you don't mind me asking, what's like what are you cooking? Like what would you be cooking?
Anything. Oh, I like to grill.
What do you grill?
Love to grill. But I can cook almost anything, bro. I've been cooking like for years.
Well, do you have a favorite stuff or like a few things?
Yeah.
Like
So I obviously any pasta, but bro, we could do like a butter chicken.
okay.
You know?
All right.
a butter chicken with like a Indian rice. And, like,
Okay.
we'll season it all up and it'd be phenomenal. Like butter chicken,
Okay.
Indian rice.
Let's go.
Get some seared Brussels sprouts
Oh.
or some seared asparagus, something like that. You know?
Oh yeah. Yum yum. Get you some. Like.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. I grew up cooking, so it's something I like to do.
Yeah. That's
What about
awesome.
You do any cooking?
Well, actually, I can cook for as much as me, who I wouldn't say is very
Yeah.
like I don't go out and cook other cultures' foods and like whatnot.
Yeah.
But as far as like, I can kind of experiment. But I can cook a good steak. I think, and like I
Yeah.
can cook I can hit all the bases for the most part for myself. But I definitely like I'm
Yeah.
no cook. But
I love to grill a steak. You know Matthew McConaughey, right? The
yeah,
actor.
I do. Yes.
So he's like an amazing grill master, and I follow him on TikTok,
Yeah.
and he gives like all these grilling tips,
Yeah.
and I love to grill a steak, rare, yeah. New York strip is like my
I'm
favorite
a medium
kind of
well
steak.
to well done guy.
Oh Lord,
Yeah.
oh no, I like it rare. In between like medium rare and like rare, but I definitely like to like almost like a warm pink center, but not like a really warm pink center.
Yeah.
Really warm pink center is like a more of like a medium rare. Rare is like a cool pink center. I like it somewhere in the middle of that. Um, but Matthew McConaughey,
Yeah.
he was
Alright,
like one of
alright,
his
alright.
grill tips that I'm gonna put you onto.
Okay, let's hear it.
So whenever you prep your steak, right? Most people will take it out of the fridge, right?
Let it thaw.
Yeah, like not only let it thaw, but like let it come up to room temp.
Okay.
You know, so whether that's like leaving it on the counter, cover it with a paper towel
Mhm.
for like 2 hours, you know, go out, do some shopping, you know, run some errands, come back home, and then like once it comes up to room temperature, letting the seasoning marinate on the steak for at least an hour, bro. That's a game changer.
Really?
Yeah, because like if you take a steak out of the fridge and you season it up and throw it on the grill,
Right away.
yeah, that seasoning hasn't had time to like marinate, and the seasoning will just burn once you throw it onto the grill. But if you let it like sit on the steak for like an hour,
Yeah.
and the steak comes
Sits
up to
in.
temperature, yeah, it really like absorbs into the skin. I
Yeah.
mean, into the muscle, and yeah, dude, it's a game changer.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, but I say this, I get it pretty nice though. You met Ron, he owned a restaurant. So for me, I'm not that much of a cook, but we
Yeah.
got it good because
Okay. Yeah.
he was cooking.
Yeah.
He cooks. So,
What's your method for whenever you cook a steak?
I've only really cooked it two ways. I put it on the grill, and I do like my steak darker.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why I always have.
Do you like sushi or like seafood?
Yes, but I don't like tuna. And then the other way, I'll like put it on the skillet.
Yeah.
But
Like
sushi,
fancy.
yeah, pan sear. I've tried rosemary and butter before.
Yeah.
It was all
It's game changer. Okay,
right. Yeah.
it's cast iron, right?
Yeah.
I got a cast iron skillet at the house. Nice, heavy duty Italian cast iron
Yeah.
skillet.
Bro, I'm like
Um,
hungry now.
you gotta let it come up to temperature, right? The cast iron.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta let it come up to temperature and then sit for a little bit.
Yeah.
So like just sit on the heat once it comes up, right? Because you want the heat to be all through the pan. You don't just want one spot of the pan to be hot.
Mm-hmm.
So you let the cast iron come up to temp. You put that steak on there, and
Do you
I
put
don't
oil?
I don't flip it multiple. Yeah,
you-
little avocado oil.
Avocado oil.
You want like a neutral flavor oil. You don't want like peanut oil or
Oh,
that will change like the flavor
yeah.
of the steak. But I don't flip it multiple times. You know, I just flip it once.
What, a few minutes on each side?
Yeah. So I'll cook it about like 2.5 minutes. I really do it by like how it
He
looks.
sees, yeah.
And then you flip it over, and then as soon as you flip it over, get that butter in the pan, get that rosemary and thyme, and then put that all at the bottom of the pan. Get you like a good chunk of butter and garlic, not like the powdered garlic. Mince you some garlic. You know, it
Yeah.
don't take 2 minutes. Chop it up, and then really get to basting that foam and
Baste
butter.
that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, because I think it was Matthew McConaughey. I actually I do know what you're talking about because I had watched some of
Yeah.
it about it. But it's like the oil, and then putting the oil in, and then putting in the butter. It doesn't allow it to brown.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah,
Yeah, you end up with brown butter. Yeah, no, that's not.
I actually like brown butter,
Really?
but
Okay.
I do because it's like nutty. But
Yeah.
maybe like but if you let it go too long, it can get like yucky too. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's a good tip.
Yeah, we could talk food all day.
Yeah. And it's getting that time soon, so
Yeah.
I'll be eating it up. Heck yeah.
Anything you want to close with?
Well, yeah. I mean, well, really, I'd have to just flip back on you, kind of like.
Okay.
I mean, two things, and this can kind of play into one, but I do think, and we had talked about this like before going into the episode, just prior. But yeah, like if you were to give insight to someone who is my age, what would that be? Anything that you could, and then obviously if you have like a end message to anyone in general. But I do think that I feel like you could speak into someone's life, and it doesn't have to be a teenager, but I do think I don't know. Is that maybe something in your head?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think I would want to say that it doesn't matter what you've been through.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not good yet, God's not done yet, you know? And I think
Okay.
like we hear that so much in church. But if you have a car outside, if you look, the windshield that you're looking out, the windshield is bigger than the rear view mirror. And the windshield is bigger than the rear view mirror for a reason, you know? Because what's in front of you is so much bigger than what's behind you, you know? And the plans that God has for your life, there's something that you couldn't even dream of. I'm a dreamer. Like I love to dream. Like at night I'll have like
Yeah.
some wild dreams, bro. But the things that like God has in store for you are things that you couldn't even imagine. You know, the Bible
Mhm.
says that His thoughts toward us are more than the sands of the sea. And like I don't know about you, but bro, there's a lot of sand in the sea. You know?
Yeah.
And to think that God has thought more thoughts about you, Matthew, than He's created sand in the sea. You know, that's pretty powerful. And all the things that we think are insignificant and all the things that we think that He wouldn't care about, every single one of those things is one of those granules in the sea, you know? And each one of those things is a thought that He has about you. You know, there's nothing too insignificant for God. There's nothing too big for God. And yeah, man, there's so much more in front of you than what's behind you.
And that's about it for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, thank you very much. Ebenezer here has a fight coming up. It's next Saturday.
This coming
Or yeah,
Saturday.
this Saturday. Man, like so if you're listening to this and you did make it all the way to the end, keep him in your prayers. Like, you know, it's just going out to war. Or you know, there's this verse and I wrote it down, but it's like it's David talking to Goliath. You come at me with sword, spear, and javelin, but I come with you with the power of Lord God Almighty.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Like, so you're gonna be going to battle,
Yeah.
but you know you've been putting in that time, you've been
Yeah.
putting in the work, and then you got God on your side. And
I say the men are prepared, the horses are watered, the swords are sharpened, but victory is the Lord's.
yeah, but yeah, thank you so much, and I think your voice has done a lot. I know it's done a lot for me today, and I know it's gonna do a lot with, like, God willing, for a lot of people listening, and maybe sometime we could get you back on here. So
Yeah.
thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank
for
you.
having me. Yeah. Ooh, that.
I know. I was like, I know. Like it was all working out tonight and today, and yeah. So thank you guys. Thank you guys once again for just even listening and watching to the Brickhouse podcast. Today might have been a little longer episode, but make sure to send it out, share it, and give Ebenezer some love. I'll put his Instagram down below. Love you guys. Bye.